sick joke. This was the two-word headline The Economist ran with to summarize the Australian government's response to a bill that would give detained asylum seekers medical attention. It wasn't based on a quote. Just a two-word statement, right there in this weekend's print edition of the influential London-based paper, Sick Joke, The Economist tells the rest of the world what's really going in Australian politics. Stirring up hysteria about boat people from legislation which gives a sliver of mercy to those on Nauru, Manus needing onshore medical treatment. Twitter.com/hkakris8p, Quentin Dempster, Quentin Dempster, February 17, 2019. The article was written about the coalition government's response to the Medevac bill that recently passed through Parliament. The legislation prioritized doctors over politicians in deciding when sick asylum seekers should be sent to Australia for medical treatment. Mainly, it was an embarrassment for the government, since prohibiting refugees on boats from entering Australia under any circumstances is one of its flagship policies, the article said. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton deemed the bill a disaster for our country, a line The Economist characterized as a shriek. It went on to describe a campaign of fear by the Liberal Party, accusing it of stirring up hysteria about boat people again, noting its tough immigration stance has helped the party to win previous ballots. Bill Shorten, Labour's leader, says, Australians understand our nation can be strong on borders and still treat people humanely. The Liberals seem to want to make the election a test of that contention, the article concludes. The article read, The Economist, which is based in London, is hardly the first influential global news outlet to criticize Australia's strict asylum seeker policy. Last September, The Washington Post ran a headline that said, Children in Australia's offshore migrant centre are so distraught, some have attempted suicide. It covered reports of depression and suicide attempts among the 100 children who were then still imprisoned on Nauru. A similar BBC headline described Nauru as the island where children have given up on life. In December 2016, The New York Times launched a blistering attack on the policy, slamming Mr. Dutton as our own little Trump. The feature deemed our offshore policy a growing embarrassment. After speaking to various asylum seekers in detention, the government says it has prevented deaths like those in the Mediterranean, where more than 4,000 migrants have drowned this year, the article said, by turning back the queue jumpers, a phrase that resonates in a nation devoted to a fair go for all. It has safeguarded Australia's right to select who gets to people a vast and empty country. The official vow that those marooned on Manus and Nauru will never live in Australia has assumed doctrinal vehemence. In Peter Dutton, the immigration minister, the country has its own little Trump. Mr. Trump has endorsed the Liberal Party's asylum seeker stance. In a January 2017 phone call, Mr. Trump called out then Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's hypocrisy in claiming the U.S. should take refugees refused by Australia. Mr. Turnbull described the deterrence policy as depriving them of the product. If you try to come to Australia by boat, even if we think you are the best person in the world, we will not let you in. Mr. Trump responded, that is a good idea. We should do that too. You are worse than I am. PM targets people smugglers in secret video. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has recorded a secret video targeted at people smugglers, warning that those willing to make the dangerous journey will not succeed. The 2-minute video, recorded in Canberra late on Friday night, will be translated into 15 languages and aired in countries rife for asylum seekers including Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, the Daily Telegraph revealed over the weekend. It will also target popular transit countries including Indonesia, Malaysia and Thailand. No one who attempts an illegal boat journey to Australia will ever be allowed to settle here, Mr. Morrison warns in the video. Australian border protection authorities will intercept any people smuggling boat that approaches Australia, and they will return those on board to their country of departure or their home country. Make no mistake, if you attempt to come to Australia illegally by boat, you will not succeed. So do not waste your money or risk your life, or anyone else's life, for nothing. This marks the first time an Australian Prime Minister has sent direct video message to people smugglers, although it mirrors a similar message recorded by Mr. Morrison in 2014 when he was immigration minister. Up to 300 asylum seekers are reportedly ready with medical advice to allow their transfer to Australia following the passing of the new legislation.